In the holiday bustle of December 23, 1974, three young girls from Fort Worth walked into the Seminary South Mall, their laughter blending with the chime of bells and the rustle of shopping bags. Hours stretched into night. The mall emptied. Rachel's 1972 Oldsmobile sat locked in the lot, keys dangling from the ignition, Renee's new jeans folded neatly on the seat beside an unwrapped present. No struggle marks, no cries heard in the crowd. Then, Christmas Eve morning, a handwritten letter arrived in the family mailbox, postmarked locally that very dawn. The question lingered like frost on a winter window. In broad daylight, amid holiday cheer, how did three girls slip away without a trace? The morning of December 23, 1974, broke crisp and clear over Fort Worth, Texas, carrying the faint scent of pine from neighborhood wreaths and the distant hum of traffic swelling with holiday shoppers. In a modest frame house on the city's edge, Mary Rachel Terlica stirred early, her footsteps soft on the linoleum as she prepared for the day. At 17, Rachel already carried the quiet poise of someone stepping into adulthood ahead of her years. Married just 6 months to Tommy, she balanced the roles of young wife and makeshift mother to his 2-year-old son from a previous union. Her dark hair framed a face marked by determination, eyes that held a spark of independence tempered by family duty. Rachel glanced at the clock above the kitchen sink. 9:30. Tommy was at work, the house still wrapped in that pre-Christmas hush. She poured coffee into a chipped mug, the steam curling upward like a fleeting promise of warmth against the chill seeping through the window panes. Today was simple. A quick errand with her younger friends, Renee and Julie. Renee Wilson, 14 and bubbling with teenage energy, had asked Rachel to pick up a pair of jeans from the Army-Navy surplus store, ones she'd ordered weeks ago, perfect for the party she planned that evening. Julianne Mosley, Renee's 9-year-old tag-along and little sister to the Mosley family next door, rounded out the trio. Julie's wide eyes and gap-toothed smile made her the heart of any gathering, her small hand often slipping into Rachel's for reassurance. "Be back by 4, Rachel called to no one in particular as she grabbed her keys, the metal jingle echoing in the empty hall. She never locked the front door in those days. Trust was the neighborhood's unspoken currency. Outside, her 1972 Oldsmobile 98 waited in the driveway, its beige body gleaming under a thin frost. The car was Tommy's pride, a sturdy vessel for family runs, its engine purring to life with a low rumble that vibrated through the seat. Rachel adjusted the rearview mirror, catching a glimpse of her reflection. Practical jeans, a sweater against the winter bite, hair tied back. No makeup, no fuss, just 3 girls on a midday outing. Renee waited on the Mosley porch 2 doors down, stamping her feet against the cold breath, fogging the air. "Hurry up, Rachel! Mom packed lunch, peanut butter sandwiches." Her voice carried that eager lilt of youth, plans for the evening party dancing in her words. Julie bounced beside her, clutching a small purse with pocket change jingling inside, her coat buttoned crookedly. The 3 climbed in, the car dipping slightly under their weight. Doors thudded shut, seatbelts unnecessary in an era before mandates. As Rachel pulled onto the street, the radio crackled to life with Bing Crosby crooning, "White Christmas," the melody weaving through their chatter. The drive to the Army-Navy store took 20 minutes, the Oldsmobile gliding past strip malls strung with lights and families hauling evergreen bundles. Inside the store, the air hung heavy with canvas and oiled leather, fluorescent bulbs buzzing overhead. Renee claimed her jeans from the counter, folding them carefully into a paper bag. The cashier's nod a brief punctuation. "These'll be perfect," Renee said, holding them up to the light, the denim stiff and new. Julie wandered the aisles, fingers trailing over Army surplus canteens, her imagination alive with stories of adventure. Rachel paid with cash from her purse, the transaction quick, Unremarkable. By noon, they were back in the car, headed to Seminary South Mall, a sprawling concrete haven of department stores and food courts, its parking lots already teeming. The mall swallowed them whole. Jingle bells tinkled from speakers, mingling with the murmur of crowds and the sizzle of pretzels from a nearby stand. Rachel parked in the upper lot near Sears, the lot a sea of gleaming hoods under gray skies. 2 hours max, she reminded them, locking the doors out of habit, though who would bother a secured car in broad daylight? They plunged into the warmth, bags swinging. Renee darted toward a record shop, Julie trailing with wide-eyed wonder at the toy displays. Rachel lingered by clothing racks, selecting a modest gift or two, her thoughts drifting to Tommy and the boy at home. Laughter rippled between them, voices lost in the holiday din. Back home, the afternoon unfolded in quiet rhythm. Tommy returned from work around 3, expecting Rachel's car in the drive. The empty spot registered slowly, like a shadow crossing the sun. He shrugged it off. Girls shopping, running late. Across the street, Renee's mother, Judy Wilson, set the table for the evening party, folding napkins with care, the scent of roasting turkey wafting from the oven. Julie's absence barely raised an eyebrow. She was with Renee, safe under Rachel's watch. By 4 o'clock, glances turned to clocks. 5 brought the first twinge of concern. Rachel's mother, Kathy Arnold, phoned the Mosleys. No answer there either. Dusk settled, streetlights flickering on. Tommy paced the living room, phone receiver heavy in his hand. Kathy drove to the mall first, her own car weaving through thickening traffic, heart quickening with each empty parking row. The Seminary South, lot sprawled vast and indifferent, taillights streaking like fireflies. She spotted the Oldsmobile near Sears, locked tight, keys visible through the glass dangling from the ignition. Renee's jeans bag sat pristine on the front seat, beside a small, unwrapped Christmas present, ribbon askew. No scuff marks on the doors, no shattered glass. Just silence. Kathy's knock on the Sears doors yielded nothing. Closing time. She circled the mall's perimeter, voice rising in the cooling air, calling names that blended with the wind. Inside, a manager flipped on the PA system, announcements booming. Mary Rachel Treleka, Lisa Renee Wilson, Julie Ann Mosley, please report to customer service. Echoes faded, unanswered. Panic edged in, sharp as the winter bite. Back home, families converged. Tommy, Judy, the Mosleys, phones ringing neighbors, flyers scribbled in haste. Police arrived after dark, flashlights sweeping the lot. The Oldsmobile yielded no prints beyond the expected, interior tidy as if paused mid-errand. Officers noted the scene, secured vehicle, valuables untouched. Likely runaways, one murmured, citing teenage patterns common that year. But Julie, 9 years old, pocket change still in her purse at home? Rachel, tethered by marriage and child? The classification landed like frost on fragile ground. As midnight neared, the families gathered in Kathy's kitchen, coffee gone cold, the radio now silent. Outside, the locked car stood sentinel in the lot, a metal witness to the unraveling. What had pulled 3 girls from holiday cheer into night, leaving only echoes? The fluorescent lights of the Fort Worth Police Department buzzed faintly as midnight crossed into December 24th, 1974. Officer Harlan Reed arrived at Kathy Arnold's home around 1 a.m., his notebook crisp under the kitchen's harsh bulb. The air carried the stale trace of cooling coffee and uneaten holiday cookies. Families huddled around the table, Kathy's hands clasped tight, Tommy Trelika's jaw set firm, Judy Wilson rocking slightly in her chair. Julie Mosley's father stood by the window, gaze fixed on the dark street beyond. Reed took statements methodically, the scratch of his pen the only rhythm in the room. Rachel, Renee, Julie, last seen entering Seminary South Mall around noon. Expected home by 4. No arguments reported, no troubles at school or home. The Oldsmobile's location noted: Upper Sears lot, locked, keys in ignition, contents pristine. Runaways, most likely, Reed concluded, echoing department protocol for missing teens that season. Statistics backed it. Hundreds of young girls bolting for city lights or boyfriends' arms, especially pre-holidays. But Julie's age gnawed at the edges of the logic. 9 years old, purse left behind with her spending money. Reed promised patrols at the mall, a teletype to neighboring stations. As he left, the screen door creaked shut, leaving the room heavier with the weight of waiting. Dawn broke gray on Christmas Eve. Tommy stepped onto the porch for the mail, routine pulling him through numb motions. Among the bills and cards sat a plain envelope, addressed in pencil to Thomas A. Treleka. Formal, unfamiliar, Rachel always scribbled Tommy. Postmark, local, stamped that morning, zip code a smudged 7683, possibly Weatherford or Eliasville. He tore it open under the porch light, the paper crinkling like dry leaves. The note inside inked in shaky block letters. "I know how mad you'll be, but we have to go away for a while. We're going to Houston. See you in about a week. The car is in the Sears parking lot on top. Love, Rachel." The signature wobbled. Rachel started as Rachie, the final L overwritten clumsily. Tommy's pulse quickened. Houston? A week? Rachel hadn't mentioned plans, and why park the car they arrived in? He carried it inside, the families crowding around. Kathy traced the handwriting with a trembling finger, no match to Rachel's smooth cursive from birthday cards. Judy noted the odd formality. Thomas, not the affectionate Tommy, etched in their daily notes. The postmark hit hardest. Mailed after the girls vanished, processed overnight. Someone local, someone watching. Reed returned by 9, bagging the envelope for the lab. Handwriting forwarded to experts, including FBI graphologists later. Initial read: inconclusive. Possible forgery under stress. Envelope seal tested rudimentary. No clear prints then, though DNA pulls decades later yielded unknowns, unmatched to the girls or kin. Across town, mall manager Roy Ellison replayed security tapes, grainy black and white, crowds blurring into anonymity. A record store clerk recalled chatting with Rachel mid-afternoon, Renee flipping records, Julie eyeing candy nearby. No stranger noted then, but details sharpened in retelling. A man lingering by the exit? Ellison's PA logs confirmed the announcements, 3 names broadcast repeatedly, voices echoing off tiled walls, met only by shopper shuffle. Lot canvas turned up nothing unusual, no abandoned bags, no distress calls logged. Families refused the runaway label. Kathy drove back to the mall, circling aisles with a Polaroid camera snapping the Oldsmobile from every angle. The car towed to impound by noon, interior vacuumed, fibers from their coats, a pretzel crumb, Renee's jeans bag sealed shut, gift tag reading "to Tommy" in Rachel's hand. No blood traces, no foreign hairs under UV. Psychologically, Reed noted in his report, abandonment of a secured vehicle contradicted elopement patterns. Girls fleeing typically grabbed rides, not left valuables exposed. Word spread through neighborhood phones, then local stations. By evening, WBPTV aired a brief. 3 Fort Worth girls missing from mall. Police seek leads. Families drafted flyers. Rachel's photo smiling in her wedding dress. Renee's school portrait with braces glinting. Julie's gap-toothed grin from last Easter. Printed overnight at a copy shop. 5,000 sheets by Christmas morning. Stapled. To poles from Dallas to Houston. Tommy fielded the first hoax call at dusk, a muffled voice claiming, "They're safe, just needed space." Traced to a payphone, empty. Judy clutched Renee's party dress, laid out since yesterday, lace trim untouched. The Mosleys prayed in their living room, Bible open to Psalms, Julie's empty stocking dangling by the fireplace. Reed's shift partner, Detective Lena Vasquez, arrived post-holiday with fresh eyes. She walked the lot herself, gravel crunching under boots, noting sight lines, Sears doors visible from dozens of cars, yet no witnesses to approach. Protocols shifted, missing persons upgraded, liaisons to Greyhound for Houston checks. Vasquez interviewed neighbors. Rachel devoted, no rebellion signs. Renee excited for friends. Julie inseparable from Renee. Legally, minors under Texas law allowed 48-hour holds for voluntary absence, but Julie's case cracked that open, child endangerment protocols engaged. As Christmas lights twinkled mockingly outside, Kathy sat with the letter photocopy, crease marks worn from rereads. Postmark timing screamed interference, delivered too swiftly, content too pat. A ploy to buy time? Vasquez nodded, filing it under misdirection tactics, common in abductions where perpetrators sow doubt. Flyers hit highways by December 26th, truckers scanning faces amid semis. Tips trickled. A girl matching Julie at a diner? Dismissed. Renee spotted in Oklahoma? Alibis cleared. The Oldsmobile sat in impound, a silent vault holding answers just out of reach. Midweek, a bus depot clerk surfaced. 3 girls asking Houston fares Christmas morning, unverified, but logged. Reed pressed mall staff again. Yellow pickup near Buddy's supermarket. A woman claiming she saw urging motions. No plates, no follow-up. The first true ripple came Friday. Army-Navy receipt time-stamped 11:47 a.m. They'd returned to the car post-shopping. Locked it. Then, nothing. Vasquez circled the Oldsmobile photos, keys glinting innocently. Psychologically, trust played in, girls comfortable enough to secure belongings, perhaps meeting someone known. As New Year's loomed, families gathered supplies, more flyers, coffee for stakeouts. The letter lay on the table, its ink fading under lamplight, a fragile thread pulling them forward into uncertainty. New Year's Eve 1974 passed in a blur of blank flyers and cold coffee for the families of Fort Worth. By early January, 5,000 posters lined telephone poles from Dallas to Houston, Rachel's wedding photo gazing out from beneath plastic sheeting, Renee's braces glinting school portrait beside Julie's Easter grin. WBAP-TV ran nightly updates, the anchor's measured tone drawing tips to a dedicated line. Families rotated shifts at the police station, Kathy Arnold's notebook filling with scribbled leads. A girl matching Renee at a Waco truck stop, dismissed after mismatched heights. Julie spotted wandering a park, traced to a local child. The first solid witness emerged, mid-January. A record store clerk at Seminary South recalled the trio clearly, Rachel flipping through albums around 3 p.m., Renee humming along, Julie tugging at a candy display. They seemed fine, chatting about the party, he told Detective Vasquez, the store's fluorescent hum underscoring his words. But as they left toward the exit, he noticed a man lingering nearby. 30s, unremarkable jacket, eyes fixed on the group a beat too long. No approach, no words. Vasquez pressed. Did they know him? The clerk shrugged, memory fuzzy under weeks of crowds. Still, it lodged in reports, a stranger in the holiday blur. Flyers fueled more. A supermarket clerk near the mall shared a tale from a customer. A middle-aged woman claiming she'd seen 3 girls urged toward a yellow pickup truck by Sears. Lights on the roof, like an unmarked service vehicle. The girls walked willingly, no visible distress. Vasquez canvassed the lot again, gravel shifting under her boots, but the woman vanished, no name, no callback. Yellow truck became a phantom lead, sketched in notebooks, chased to dead ends. Tension crested in April 1975. Frustrated with police pace, the families pooled funds for private investigator John Swaim, a former Fort Worth detective with a reputation for dogged pursuits. Swaim set up in Kathy's living room, files spreading across the dining table like a patchwork map. His first press conference drew reporters, microphones crowding as he laid out the letter's anomalies. Formal address, sloppy signature, impossibly swift postmark. "This wasn't goodbye," he said flatly. "It was a stall." Publicity unearthed Bill Hutchins, a part-time Sears security guard on duty that night. In 2001 testimony, he'd recall spotting the girls around 11:30 p.m., hours after mall close, laughing in the cab of a young guard's pickup, parked in shadows. They looked relaxed, at ease with the driver, a Sears colleague named Carl. Hutchins flagged it post-disappearance, but early logs buried it under runaway assumptions. Swaim grilled Carl in 1975, alibied by co-workers, truck color wrong, no yellow. Yet the image lingered, girls comfortable, trusting. Family fractures deepened the unease. Rusty Arnold, Rachel's younger brother, eyed his sister Deborah sharply. At 19, Deborah had once been engaged to Tommy, the union dissolving months before Rachel's quick marriage. Living under the same roof then, she'd minded Tommy's toddler during the outing. Whispers grew. Did Deborah forge the letter? Rusty's suspicions spilled in hushed kitchen talks, flyers forgotten on counters. Media caught wind. A Star-Telegram piece demanded her polygraph. Deborah met reporters on the porch, voice steady. "I'd never harm my sister. Blame falls elsewhere." No test mandated, no charges, legally clean, but doubt seeded like weeds. Hoaxes piled on. A June call to Judy Wilson, a child's voice whispering, "Mama," then ragged breaths before disconnect, traced to a prankster payphone. August brought tips of bodies under Port Lavaca bridges. Swaim led 100 volunteers in humid searches, machetes clearing brush, only to find animal bones. Brazoria County oil drillers pulled 3 skeletons in fall, teen male, 2 females. Dental charts ruled them out, but the dig left families hollow-eyed, mud caking their boots. Swaim uncovered a local harasser next, 28, employed at a shop where Rachel had job applied. He'd phoned 6 teens with crude propositions, addresses gleaned from applications, lived blocks from the Arnolds. Interrogation room tapes captured his sweat-beaded denial. Knew her in passing, that's all. Alibi held, home with family that night. Psych profile noted, pattern of targeting young women, but no direct tie. Vasquez watched the swirl from her desk, files thickening. Legally, probable cause eluded. Witnesses too vague. Family rifts emotional, not evidentiary. Psychologically, misdirection thrived on division. Paint runaways, scatter suspicion, fracture searchers. The yellow truck faded. Carl cleared. Deborah unproven. Swaim's volunteers dwindled as spring warmed into summer. One evening in July, Rusty stared at the letter photocopy, crease lines worn thin. Deborah entered the kitchen, pausing at his glare. "We're on the same side," she said softly. He turned away. Outside, cicadas droned, the neighborhood settling into routines the families couldn't reclaim. Swaim called a strategy halt. Maps rolled away. Leads circled back to the mall lot. Secured car, implied return, then void. Trust, Vasquez noted in margins, had lured them somewhere quiet. But as August heat baked the streets, a bus depot clerk resurfaced. 3 girls querying Houston tickets Christmas morning. Names unmatched, timing off. Another thread dangling. The shadows lengthened, suspicions shifting like sand. Who held the real key amid the noise? Summer 1975 faded into a relentless Texas autumn, the initial surge of flyers and volunteers ebbing like a receding tide. John Swaim's office in Kathy Arnold's home grew quiet, maps yellowing on walls, the private investigator's chair empty more often as leads dried. Port Lavaca searches yielded only scratched hands and empty echoes under bridges. The Harrisers' alibi stood firm under scrutiny. Families returned to routines fractured by absence, meals served for one less place, holidays marked by untouched chairs. Kathy folded Renee's party dress into a drawer, its lace edges gathering faint dust, a silent testament to plans interrupted. By 1976, Swaim faced his own shadows. A ransom call demanding $50,000 promised locations, traced to a hoaxer seeking press clippings. Exhaustion etched his features during family meetings, voice gravelly from late nights. In November, Brazoria County's skeletal find stirred brief hope. 3 remains pulled from oil fields, but dental records and measurements dashed it coldly. Swaim gathered the Arnolds, Mosleys, and Wilsons one final evening, files stacked like gravestones. "We're chasing ghosts," he admitted, eyes on the letter's photocopy. Weeks later, tragedy struck. Swaim found dead in his apartment, overdose ruled self-inflicted. His widow honored his last wish, files burned in a backyard barrel, ashes scattering on wind, potential threads lost to flames. Time carved deeper marks. Rachel's father, Cotton Arnold, battled cancer diagnosed months after her vanishing. Treatments drained him, hospital rooms filled with Kathy's vigil, his hand weakening in hers. "Find her for me," he whispered once, voice thin as the sheets. 6 months post-disappearance, he slipped away. The funeral a small gathering under drizzling rain. Julie's empty pew the starkest presence. Tommy Trelika held formalities in 1976, legal declaration of abandonment under Texas statute, papers signed with steady hand despite the ache. He relocated, remarried in time, life reshaping around the void, though neighbors noted his distant gaze during chance encounters. Judy Wilson tended Renee's room unchanged, posters curling at edges, the party dress now boxed with school books. Birthdays came hollow. Julie's 10th marked by a single candle on cake, flames flickering against her mother's averted eyes. The Mosleys framed her Easter photo centrally, dustcloth gentle weekly. Holidays amplified the quiet. Christmas 1977 saw Kathy baking extras for neighbors, distributing amid carols, her smile practiced but eyes distant. "Keeps the hands busy," she'd say, passing plates warmed by oven residual heat. 1980s brought stagnation. Fort Worth PD archived the case, inactive, stamped on folders gathering dust in basements. Families fielded sporadic tips, a Rachel sighting at a Dallas diner, voice matching on a payphone, each vetted, dismissed. Rusty Arnold, now in his 20s, shouldered the load, driving back roads with faded flyers, radio scanning for mentions. Dreams haunted, Julie's laugh echoing in malls, Rachel waving from distant cars. He confided in Kathy during porch sits, cicadas humming backdrop. "They need us looking." Desperation turned inward. Judy sought a medium once, 1982, seance room dim with candle wax scent, hands linked on tablecloth. Table wrapped faintly, directions to a creek bed, searched fruitlessly by family, mud-caking boots anew. No judgment passed. Grief sought any light. Churches offered solace, sermons on patience resonating, though questions lingered unspoken. Legally, cold case protocols pre-DNA meant dormancy. Psychologically, families navigated ambiguous loss, mourning without closure, holidays blending joy and ache. By 1990, aging softened edges. Renee's mother, Judy, hosted neighborhood potlucks, laughter tentative at first, plates passed with stories of other children. Kathy volunteered at missing persons desks, guiding new families through flyer designs, her notebook a well-worn ally. "Share the load," she'd advise, voice steady from years. Tommy's new life included stepsons, photos mailed occasionally. Rachel's ring passed to a daughter-in-law, symbol repurposed gently. Rusty refused fade. Jobs sustained him, mechanic by day, searches by night, but resolve hardened. 1995 marked 21 years. He revisited the mall lot, now repaved, Oldsmobile long scrapped. Footsteps measured paces where gravel once crunched, wind carrying faint traffic hum. A quiet prayer, then home to Kathy, her hair silvering, hands arthritic from endless folding. Millennium approached, files digitized haphazardly. Families gathered annually, not for grief but memory. Photos shared, Renee's braces laughed over fondly, Julie's grin timeless. Tips slowed, but persistence rooted deep. Kathy baked for support groups now, her kitchen aroma drawing widows and parents, stories exchanged like recipes. "We carry them forward," she'd say, passing slices. One crisp fall evening in 1998, Rusty sifted old clippings alone, letter crease faint under lamp. Phone rang, unknown number, click of hang-up. Chill traced his spine, familiar warning. Yet he dialed Dan James next day, private eye with fresh mandate. Hope flickered anew, fragile as dawn. Years had weathered but not broken them. In the quiet accumulation of days, endurance bloomed, small acts weaving absence into purpose. But as night deepened, the central riddle persisted. Where had trust led them, and could time yet reveal the path? The turn of the millennium carried a whisper of renewal to Fort Worth's faded files. In 1999, Rusty Arnold, now etched by 2 decades of searches, reached out to private investigator Dan James. Rusty's voice over the phone held steady resolve. Maps and clippings spread before him like old friends. James, a veteran of cold trails, agreed to review the case pro bono at first, his office soon stacked with photocopies of the letter, witness statements yellowed at edges. 25 years, Rusty said during their first meeting, the scent of fresh coffee cutting the room's staleness. But tech's changing, we dig deeper. James dove in methodically, cross-referencing mall blueprints with guard logs. Hutchins' 1975 recollection resurfaced in earnest, 3 girls laughing in a pickup cab past closing time. James tracked the named guard, Carl, now retired in suburbs, porch swing creaking as he denied involvement. Saw them? Never. Wrong truck. Alibis checked out again, but James noted the psychological angle. Comfort with authority figures explained no public outcry. Tips flowed to James's line. Anonymous whispers of Rachel sightings during holidays, a woman in Fort Worth diners with familiar dark hair. Unverified, yet catalogued. Pressure mounted organically. Rusty went public in 2000, Star Telegram interview spilling family tensions. Eyes on Deborah, polygraph calls renewed. Letters poured in from kin, urging cooperation. Deborah responded measuredly, porchlight casting long shadows. I'd walk through fire for answers. Point elsewhere. No charges, no breakthrough, but the stir nudged police desks. Fort Worth. PD yielded in 2001. Under public gaze, the case shifted from missing persons to major crimes. Homicide protocols engaged despite no bodies. Detective Tom Butcher took lead, his whiteboard filling with timelines, the bullpen hum of printers underscoring resolve. He re-interviewed 20 witnesses, dust stirred from archives. 5 persons of interest emerged, guards, locals with vague ties, names shielded, probes quiet. They left with someone trusted, Butcher stated publicly, voice carrying weight of experience. Likely more than one. Envelope DNA, licked seal retested with early genetic kits, yielded profiles, unknown males, no database hits, no girl matches. James fielded threats, gravelly calls warning back off, traced to burners. Rusty pressed on, funding a $25,000 reward from his pocket. Flyers refreshed with age-progressed sketches. Rachel poised in her 30s, Renee confident mid-20s, Julie a young woman with familiar smile. Digital threads wove tighter. By 2010, online forums buzzed, a Facebook group sprouting under Rusty's watch, members climbing to 12,000 by 2023, posts sifting tips like gold from silt. Age-progressed images from Enkesmek circulated, evoking double-takes at gas stations, quiet recognitions over keyboards. A tangible pivot came in 2018. Rusty fixated on Benbrook Lake, 13 kilometers from the mall, shallow waters hiding wrecks, a 1974 local vanishing mirroring patterns. Partnering with Texas EquuSearch, sonar swept depths, pings echoing on screens. September 22nd, divers hauled a 1960s Corvair ashore before 100 onlookers, Kathy Arnold's frail frame at the chain-link fence, wind tugging her scarf. Mud sluiced off, no remains, VIN clean. October brought a Lincoln Continental, post-1974 manufacture, wrong era. The third wreck crumbled mid-pull in 2019, frame 2 rotted, operation halted amid splashes and sighs. Rusty stood lakeside post-failure, boots sunk in muck, voice thick to cameras. Mom's 81, we've out every car, but excluding sights moves us forward. Kathy nodded beside him, hands clasped, her baking now funding EquuSearch nationwide, grief transmuted to aid. Tech horizons brightened. 2022 saw an anonymous $50,000 reward, spotlighting the letter anew. Families petitioned for Othram Labs access, genealogic DNA wizards extracting traces from stamps forensics once missed. PD held the envelope tight. Active investigation. Bocher, retired but consulting, endorsed, "One lick could profile the sender. Science catches what time slips." Rusty coordinated with Terry Mosley, Julie's brother, and Renee's old beau, their bond forged in vigils. Billboards rose in 2023, National Missing Persons Day, images gazing from highways, captions crisp. Seen since 1974? Toll-free lines lit up, sifting wheat from chaff. Mid-chapter, James uncovered a depot clerk's refined memory. 3 girls at Greyhound Christmas morning, Houston-bound queries. Timing off, descriptions, loose but logged as possible lure confirmation. Psychologically, it fit. Transit as escape vector, trust easing the path. As sonar echoes faded, Rusty's group hit 13,000, virtual candles lit annually. Kathy hosted potlucks for searchers, aroma of her pecan pies drawing stories, other families' reunions fueling their flame. Persistence honors them, she'd say, slicing generously. One lakeshore evening, Rusty pocketed a sonar printout, lake lapping gently. Hope, fragile as envelope paper, endured, tech bridging decades, whispers turning to profiles. The path clarified inch by inch. But what face would emerge from the code, rewriting silence? Detective Tom Butcher's whiteboard in the Fort Worth Major Crimes Room bore the scars of 27 years by 2001. Timelines branching like dry riverbeds, witness names pinned with red string, the letters photocopy taped center stage. Butcher paced during briefings, marker squeaking as he circled the core. No forced entry on the Oldsmobile, valuables intact, mall crowds blind to distress. "Runaway doesn't hold," he stated flatly to his team, coffee steam curling from a station mug. Julie Mosley, at 9, shattered that profile. Texas statutes on minors demanded deeper scrutiny, psychological patterns of child abductions favoring lure over flight. Age-progressed sketches flanked the board now, Rachel's features matured to a poised woman, Renee's braces replaced by a confident gaze, Julie's grin softened into adulthood. The envelope anchored debate. Early handwriting analysis wavered, inconclusive against Rachel's samples, suggesting forgery under haste. DNA pulls from the seal, refined in the 2000s, isolated male profiles, unmatched to databases, ruling out family hands like Deborah's. Postmark precision gnawed, stamped Christmas Eve morning, local zip smudged to Eliasville shadows. Legally, it screamed interference, a classic stall buying the critical 48-hour window when scents trail and memories sharpen. Bocher leaned on psych consults. Perpetrators sowed doubt to fracture responders, turning searchers inward. Leading theory solidified around trust. They walked with someone known, Bocher told reporters, voice measured over camera flashes. Witnesses aligned, record clerk's lingering man, Hutchins' late-night pickup laughter, supermarket whispers of yellow truck urging. No public struggle in holiday throngs pointed to familiarity. Guard uniform, family acquaintance, mall regular easing compliance. Likely multiples, he added, nodding to logistics. 3 girls from secured car demanded coordination. Psychologically, it mirrored cases where authority cloaked intent, girls pausing mid-errand for a trusted wave. Fringe paths drew scrutiny, early trafficking murmurs, white slavery, in 1970s parlance, faded under rarity. 3 at once strained lone opportunists, though organized vectors lingered unproven. Swaim's harasser, with his teen calls and Rachel ties, circled back in reviews. Profile fit targeting patterns, but alibis ironclad. Family probes cleared. Deborah's polygraph voluntary, results ambiguous. Tommy's divorce procedural, no financials skewed. Rusty pressed Rachel alive sightings, holiday doubles in diners, dark hair evoking her, but verifications crumbled under time's blur. Benbrook Lake dives crystallized exclusions. Sonar ghosts pulled ashore, Corvair clean, Lincoln too new, third wreck dust, thwarted local dumps but fueled transport theories. Farther afield, James noted in reports, mapping Greyhound hubs. Bocher's 5 persons of interest, shielded names, underwent quiet tales. Guards revisited, locals with 1974 shadows. None cracked, but threads tugged, Carl's truck color off. Yet late-shift access granted shadows. Mid-review, a depot clerk refined his tale under oath. 3 girls at Greyhound Christmas dawn. Houston queries casual, no duress. Timing stretched, post-mall vanish, but mannerisms echoed, logged as lure confirmation. Psychologically, it painted transit handoff, trust extending beyond the lot. Debates filled station nights, fluorescent hum underscoring maps. Runaways debunked outright. Julie's purse home, Renee's dress laid out, Rachel's family anchors. Opportunistic snatch faltered against crowd immunity. Lure by acquaintance dominated, Bocher circling it. Comfort explains the quiet exit. Legally open, no homicide statute barred. Kidnapping endless, genealogy beckoned. Rusty hosted theory sessions in Kathy's kitchen, pie aromas softening edges. Terry Mosley joined, Julie's brother tracing timelines. Someone they waved to. Hope tempered speculation. Othram's promise loomed. Envelope like a genetic time capsule. Families weighed paths without verdict. Resolve shared like warm slices. Bocher closed a 2002 file. Theories balanced, strongest on trust's betrayal. No single face emerged, but contours sharpened, known voice amid jingles, pulling toward unseen roads. As hypotheses settled like dust, one loomed clearest, familiarity's quiet pull. Yet shadows held the names, waiting for science or confession to illuminate. 51 years have layered over the Seminary South parking lot like sediment. The original asphalt repaved twice, Sears doors long shuttered under new retail facades. Yet the families carry forward, their steps measured by milestones etched in quiet persistence. Kathy Arnold, Rachel's mother, marked her 91st birthday in 2024 with a small gathering. Pecan pies baked as always, distributed to support groups she's chaired since the 1980s. Her hands, veined and steady, fold flyers still, guiding newcomers through the bureaucracy of missing persons reports. "One call at a time," she tells them, voice warmed by kitchen lamplight, her silver hair catching the glow. Renee's mother, Judy Wilson, passed in 2015 after decades tending an unchanged bedroom, posters yellowed, party dress preserved in tissue. Her final years saw potlucks for other searchers, laughter mingling with stories, absence woven into community threads. Rusty Arnold remains the steady pulse. Now in his 70s, he coordinates from a modest home office, computer screens humming with group updates, the Facebook page at 13,000 strong, virtual candles lit each December 23rd. Wastes in Kennedale, jungles near Rising Star. He's combed them with volunteers, boots caked anew, radio crackling false positives. "Mom's waiting," he says during interviews, eyes on faded photos. Terry Mosley, Julie's brother and Renee's one-time companion, partners closely. 2023 billboards their joint push, age-progressed portraits gazing from Texas highways on National Missing Persons Day. Toll lines buzzed moderately, tips vetted patiently. Fort Worth PD maintains the file active, major crimes shelf where Bocher left it, envelope secured in evidence lockers, Othram petitions pending. Tech evolves, a current detective notes in updates, genealogy databases swelling yearly. Anonymous $50,000 rewards refresh hope, tying to the lure theory, trusted face amid holiday crowds, no struggle in witness voids. Star Telegram remembrances run annually, front page nods to the trio's enduring shadow over local lore. Lives reshaped without shattering. Tommy Treleka's path diverged, multiple marriages, grandchildren now, occasional cards to Rusty bearing family snapshots. Rachel's ring graces a stepdaughter's hand, symbol gentled by time. The Mosleys frame Julie's portraits centrally, Easter traditions unbroken, her chair at table a quiet seat of honor. Rusty volunteers with EquiSearch nationwide, lake dives inspiring broader searches, families reunited elsewhere fueling his flame. Communal ripples extend. Kathy's baking funds, NCMEC drives. Rusty's group shares protocols, easing paths for others lost. "We light for them all," members post. Digital vigils bridging miles. Annual gatherings blend memory with forward motion, photos passed. Renee's braces chuckled over, Julie's grin timeless. No despair dominates. Purpose blooms from the pause. Legally, doors stand open. No statute seals kidnapping or potential homicide, DNA a living bridge. Psychologically, ambiguous loss teaches endurance, families modeling quiet strength for U60 eyes, weathered but unbowed, holidays blending ache with resolve. Rusty pauses lakeside yearly, Benbrook waters lapping unchanged, sonar ghosts settled. Kathy joins when able, scarf against wind, hands clasped. "They're out there, or answers are," Rusty reflects, voice carrying over ripples. Persistence honors, never surrender the watch. The envelope waits in its vault, licktrace a genetic whisper. Science inches closer, profiles sharpening against databases vast as time. Leading contour, familiarity's pull from mall to unknown roads, trust the silent vector. Lives echo on, enriched by the search. Families aid nationwide, turning private void to public light. Cotton's last wish, Judy's quiet room, Swaim's burned files, all fuel steps forward. 51 years on, will that single seal unveil faces from shadows, or do Rachel, Renee, and Julie linger just beyond reach, their story urging one more call. The echoes of December 23, 1974, linger in Fort Worth's quiet corners. A locked Oldsmobile, a forged letters crease. Families who turned absence into enduring light. No faces named, no roads retraced fully, yet trust's betrayal emerges clearest. A familiar voice amid holiday chimes, drawing three girls beyond the mall's glow. Science whispers promises, DNA from a dawn postmark, databases swelling like dawn. Persistence honors them. Kathy's pies for searchers, Rusty's lakeside vows, billboards gazing onward. Will one genetic thread unveil the path, or do Rachel, Renee, and Julie wait in silence still? Lives paused, stories urging us forward. If this chronicle of quiet resolve stirs you, subscribe for more true tales of human strength. Comment your reflections below. Like to keep their memory alive and share widely. Your voice might spark the call that breaks the shadow. Justice endures with us.